Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. I hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an amazing day. Very interesting video for everyone out there. This is there's a lot of news happening always behind the scenes, if you will. I notice there's a lot of stuff, what have you, a lot of people don't cover a lot of news like this, but it's some like really important stuff that's happening behind the scenes. For those who don't know, a lot of people keep calling me like a crypto permabull. Like I am so destructively bullish on the entire cryptocurrency space. Like I see crypto lasting for a very long time. So this kind of leads up into all the news that we actually have for all of this. And without further ado, let's jump right into it because it's going to get really crazy really fast. One of the most interesting and advantageous design aspects that pseudo-anonymous creator Satoshi Nakamoto built into Bitcoin was the halving. A pre-programmed point in time in which miners receive a reduced block reward of Bitcoin for confirming transactions on the network. Each halving event has been preceded by a major price surge in anticipation of the asset's balance and supply and demand being thrown off. Some economists even believe that this is the reason why Bitcoin is the fastest rising valued asset of all time. There was something for those who have never seen like an actual chart of how much Bitcoin has gone up. Like you can Google it and find it. I think Bitcoin has gone up by, it was like 7 million% or something ridiculous like that, maybe even more since I think its inception. So it's the only asset that we have on this planet that has outperformed everything else. It takes multiple generations to even think of having 35,000, maybe 100,000% return on anything. Nonetheless, several million%. Yeah. A new earnings report from the payments processing app known as Square Cash, which rolled out Bitcoin buying to its users at the end of 2017 and into the start of 2018, suggests that the company is now responsible for absorbing as much as 10% of the current Bitcoin supply mined each day. Furthermore, the growth trajectory of the company's Bitcoin sales could bring the app's impact on the Bitcoin supply to new heights, responsible for users buying double the daily supply mined of Bitcoin by the next halving or by 200%. Here's where it gets really interesting. Jack Dorsey, who is the founder of the social media platform known as Twitter and Square, he's obsessed with Bitcoin, is among, Bitcoin's biggest bulls. The entrepreneur believes that the first ever cryptocurrency has a strong chance of becoming the world's first global currency for the internet and is doing all he can to support the leading crypto by market cap on its journey toward realizing its full potential. The idea of what Bitcoin is or what Bitcoin is going to be over the last 10 years has changed dramatically, at least since I've been in the cryptocurrency space. What it used to be, and forgive me, is that it was kind of this anarchist, anti-government, anti-everything else. You can't stop us. We have our own rights, our own so-and-so kind of coin. Like you can't really find us. You can't really so-and-so. That's kind of evolved. And the new, even if you remember about 2 or 3 years ago, the idea of what Bitcoin was going to be was simply a store of value. No one would be touching Bitcoin. People would simply buy it to hold their wealth in, and no one was expected to actually transact in Bitcoin. But because we now have and see a fast-growing Lightning network, it appears that people are now saying that Bitcoin is going to be used, but also a lot of the aspects have kind of smashed into one gigantic like form. And the idea is for Bitcoin is that it's going to be the currency of the internet, in that as the world becomes more digitized and everything gets sent around the internet and what else would have you, it's ridiculous that we should have to have multiple different currencies for different things when we're trying to pay, as far as PayPal, as far as Apple Pay, as far as Alipay, as far as Samsung Pay, as far as what are the other 5 that people are also like, isn't it like an Amazon Pay or something really weird like that? The idea is that we can eliminate all of that. That's not to say that Bitcoin is going to be the only currency, is that when we're transacting on the internet, if we have to buy something, if we have to send somebody money through the internet, through the interwebs, the idea is that it is going to be Bitcoin. And this is why a lot of people have kind of shifted a little tiny bit to exactly what Bitcoin is going to be. And the new, what it is going to be is now currency for the internet. The Bitcoin supporter launched sales of the digital asset to users on the Square Cash app at the close of 2017 and further rolled it out to users at the start of 2018. Since then, the app has grown Bitcoin-related revenues month on month and is now responsible for absorbing 10% of the daily Bitcoin supply mined by miners across the globe. Here's the actual tweet for it. It gets really interesting when I go a bit further. Yeah, here we go. With one single app offering Bitcoin as an afterthought having such an impact on the Bitcoin supply, It highlights the scarcity of the digital asset and gives a glimpse into what the next halving could mean for the supply and its balance with demand. Each halving diminishes the Bitcoin supply by 50%, which would automatically bring Square's cash impact on the Bitcoin supply to 20% without any further growth. Here's the actual chart that they have. They said if growth of their app continues the way that it has before, for those who cannot really see the chart as well because it's kind of tiny and not really that colorful. Anyway, the point is the orange one right here is the amount of Bitcoin that gets mined, Bitcoin mined, Bitcoin mined, Bitcoin mined, Bitcoin mined. The blue one is the purchases on their Cash app starting from 2018. It starts small and then continues further on. And if the projections continue by the time that Bitcoin's reward gets cut in half, it'll actually almost quadruple and or go even higher than that for the amount of demand that people have for actually buying Bitcoin, which would mean that there would be a lot less Bitcoin going around. But Bitcoin Square app shows no signs of slowing its growth, and Bitcoin awareness has only increased since the hype bubble in 2017 popped. If Square Cash maintains its current growth trajectory of Bitcoin sales, the app is set to siphon as much as 200% of the Bitcoin supply generated by miners each day by the next halving, which is currently scheduled for May 2020. This is a very big event. A lot of people are waiting for this. A lot of people think that Bitcoin's movements haven't even been factored in yet as far as like for price movement. Typically what we see like just right before or maybe sometimes a bit after Bitcoin has had its reward getting cut in half is that the price will kind of skyrocket. It goes up. Like people have done this on charts. They've seen whether it happens directly before or like a month or two after, it's always factored in some point into the actual price of Bitcoin. And this is where we kind of get these really crazy price movements as, you know, as the years kind of go on. The idea, but the weird thing about this one is that in May 2020, when this one happens, we didn't have as many people in the cryptocurrency network or the Bitcoin network or the Bitcoin space in 2016. Neither did we have that many in 2012. So when we finally have this, I think the reward is going to get cut in half to, I think, 12.5 Bitcoin. I think it's 25 where it currently is right now. That's going to, I think it's actually even less than that. I can't remember the exact number. It's not usually touted or thrown around as often. The point is, from this one app alone, they think that they're going to be, that there will be more demand than actually is being mined, and that this will cause a new precedent for people to get further into the cryptocurrency space and to buy more Bitcoin, and for Bitcoin's price to go higher. But the amount of Bitcoin being created will have been cut in half, and there's nothing that anyone can kind of do about that. Kind of completely insane when you think about it. It's actually very interesting. I want to say we don't have much longer. A lot of people think that by the end of this year, people think that by 2020, like the very start of it, that this will enter into people's heads more and more as to when the reward is going to get cut in half. Who knows? I mean, I can't really say who knows what's going to happen. It's my opinion that the price is probably going to increase dramatically. I also have my own price points in my head where I think Bitcoin is going to go. I dare not say them out loud because they do sound a little insane. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Cardano is in the news. Charles Hoskinson, who is the co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Cardano, launched a new enterprise blockchain framework that aims at providing better financial services to people in African countries. The information was released by Forbes on the 30th of April. Cardano is one of the largest networks in the cryptocurrency market. The new network is known as Atala, and the intention is to serve as a solution for developers, companies, and governments. The new network works in a similar way to Hyperledger Fabric, and it will be providing services to different institutions and agencies, including companies. During a conversation with Forbes, Hoskinson said, and I do quote, "Atala is an enterprise framework similar to Hyperledger Fabric. However, the point is to be a solution provider for governments in need of municipal currency or a supply chain management system. This requires a type of framework that serves as libraries and modules that will allow governments to rapidly build a product for end users," end quote. We spoke yesterday. I don't know for those of you who were here or those of you who remembered or actually ended up listening to it. I was telling you about the podcast of the guy in Africa who was talking about how there's a very big problem within Africa right now as far as the adoption of cryptocurrencies, because a lot of central banks, governments, whatever the case might be, whatever country you're in Africa, a lot of them have come forward, discouraged their citizens to actually invest in, to look into, to actually use cryptocurrencies by calling it evil, by saying that only criminals use it, by saying that this is a problem, that only drug dealers use it, that there's this place on the dark web where people are using it for illicit activities. This has caused a lot of people within Africa to become very afraid, and a lot of governments themselves have also become very afraid. And I've actually watched, it wasn't a documentary, it was more like a 15-minute thing about the happenings within Africa for cryptocurrencies. Is very difficult right now because you have all these different countries who are using different currencies, who are very fragmented, who, I'm not getting into the politics, whatever the actual case might be. So when I talk about cryptocurrency projects that I don't want to say believe in, I think that's a bit too strong. It's more like things that I understand where they're going and I see them succeeding because of where the steps that they're actually taking to move forward. This is why I mentioned before, I did not once care for IOTA, but I understand exactly where they're going, and I do commend them on their actions because they made sure to kind of target the entire electronics, car, self-driving, blah, 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 market within Europe. And I saw that the same exact thing was happening within South America with Dash, and also with one other coin. I can't remember exactly which one they were, but the only ones, at least to my knowledge, that I am currently aware of is the Cardano team has made sure to hit Africa very hard. They've made sure to go to different countries, to different spaces around Africa to kind of stop this misknowledge is not a word, but like to stop the, I don't want to use the word ignorance, but you kind of get what I'm saying, within the continent, for people who are scared of it, because this is going to be a huge economic revolution. This isn't something that's going to come and go, you know, in one day. It's going to completely shape the rest of the world. And this is why one of the main reasons why I think that if Cardano does continue with all of their upgrades as they have been saying that they're going to do, and if this kind of goes off without a hitch, I think they'll be one of the largest blockchain platforms on this entire earth, because of what they're trying to target an entire continent. And it's also a continent that historically has not done well economically, corruption, whatever, what have you. So to be able to, in some way, try to connect, and it's very difficult to try and connect the entire continent in some sort of way. I don't know. I can't go too far into the future because I can't say that they'll simply all adopt a Bitcoin, or that they'll simply all adopt ADA or any other kind of cryptocurrency. But at some point, the fragmentation of all these countries has to kind of stop. I remember reading before that they were trying to, like, oh gosh, what is it? Like the European Union is the EU, and I think they were trying to launch the AU, if I'm not mistaken, like as far as the African Union, where they were talking about, or that there were talks, or people were talking about that there should be talks of like a one Africa currency. I don't know how well that's gonna pan out, or even multiple countries were going to do it. Anyway, continuing on, the solution is similar to Hyperledger Fabric, and it takes a different approach. Hoskinson, also the CEO of Input Output Hong Kong, explained that the network was built from the ground up for real-world use cases. The new platform is expected to go live in just a few days. According to Mr. Hoskinson, Atala will be the first blockchain product that will be working with the Ethiopian government. They also want to develop a cryptocurrency and provide a secure and dependable means of payment for the nation's capital. According to Forbes, Atala is the first to be used in collaboration with the government. This project will start in Ethiopia, and depending on the results, they would be moving to another country. Hoskinson mentioned that the blockchain interoperability is needed as to facilitate mass adoption of the technology. So there are certain countries, and there's, I think, 4 of them, not even joking, aside from South Africa. South Africa is a completely different story, like as far as the adoption. I think it's picking up there a bit more than other countries. But the other major countries within Africa are having a very difficult problem. There's a lot of misinformation being thrown around very, very easily, which is a shame, once again, because these are also the countries that usually don't do well economically. They have hyperinflation. I mean, it's like really, really bad in some of these countries. So it makes sense why their governments or their bankers would lie to them, because you see that the old system doesn't work. Here's a new option. This one definitely works, and this one's being adopted by other people around the world. So you scare people into submission. Hopefully Cardano can do it. I would like to see other cryptocurrency projects do it, but I feel like a lot of them are too afraid. There's not a lot of the reasons why you don't hear a lot of projects moving to Africa or moving to like South America and stuff like that is because these countries aren't as economically strong as other one. And this is why I get really frustrated sometimes, because so many people, they brag about their cryptocurrency projects being decentralized and all this other stuff and how they're making the world a better place, but a lot of projects aren't. Like when you talk about trying to make the world's largest cryptocurrency blockchain project, in whatever word you might want to use, it starts with poor countries who don't have access to banking, who don't have access to financial services because rich people don't like them. And then you end up in turn, I'm trying not to get too political. The point is, there are billions of people on the planet who have no access to any financial services. So the fact that the Cardano team, and I'm fairly certain it's not a lot of other cryptocurrency projects, are trying to corner these countries, tell them, hey, it is okay. We'll show you exactly how this works. Help us go to your neighboring countries and tell them exactly how this ends up working as well. You bring them all together, and this is kind of how you move the world forward. Like, the world doesn't have to be poor. There doesn't have to be poverty. Anyway, right. Here's the actual thing from Forbes of them talking about the entire thing. I'm assuming if this is a success, or if this does move forward within the next couple of months, we'll probably hear more about it, and then we'll cover it once again. Then let's move on. Next up, 68% of global high net worth individuals, or rich people, have already invested or are planning to invest in crypto by the end of 2020. According to a survey by Dubai-based financial consulting firm Geber Group, this was released a couple of days ago, Geber Group has more than $10 billion in assets under advice, with more than 80,000 clients located in more than 100 countries. More than 2/3 of global individuals whose assets value is equivalent or greater than 1 million British pounds, around 1.3 million US dollars, will be invested in cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP, the report notes. The new survey includes more than 700 Geber clients as respondents, located in major global countries, especially the US, UK, I'm not reading all those countries, major countries. Geber Group founder and CEO Nigel Green has outlined 5 major factors that drive global high net worth individuals to keep an eye on crypto, including the fear of missing out. According to Green, the first major reason is that cryptocurrencies are borderless, which enables the asset to be available everywhere all over the globe. The other factors include the fact that crypto suits the general global trend of increasing digitalization, the capability of crypto to provide solutions for real-life issuers such as international remittances, and providing services for the world's assessed 2 billion person unbanked populations, as well as accepted by younger generations, and the active involvement by institutional investors. I'll tell you the real reason. So not to say that this isn't part of the reason why rich people are buying up cryptocurrencies. However, I talk to a lot of people. I go to a lot of events sometimes, and I like to discuss with people what's happening. Why are rich people getting into it? What clients do you have? Are they invested in crypto? People will usually readily tell you the information. They won't tell you names. However, they will tell you, yeah, I work with a couple of very wealthy families. They have bought so and so amount. Remember, for those of you who were here, years ago, I made a video where I went to some event and I was talking to this woman, and it was really funny because I think after like 5 or 10 minutes, we became like close friends. I haven't seen her since then, but we became friends at the event. And I was asking her, I was like, yeah, where are you from? And we both discussed that we were living in Europe, but she was from the States, and she was telling me how many really wealthy clients that she was working with. And she said, this was when Bitcoin was around like $300, $400, $500. And she said, yeah, one of her families in New York, they had heard about cryptocurrencies, and they were like, you know what? Let's just put some money into it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I said, in my stupid head, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Did they put, 10, 15, 20,000? She was like, no, I think they put around like $5 million into it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like trying to like keep my cool, but this has been happening for a very long time. And we discussed, and many other people at the event were discussing, especially even now, like further, this was years ago. We've been discussing why people have been putting their money into cryptocurrencies. Like I said, this may be part of the reason, but I'll tell you one of the other main reasons. It comes down to capital controls. There's been a huge issue the last couple of years, last 10 years, where I'm pretty sure you've all heard of Swiss bank accounts and people hiding their money in Swiss bank accounts and so and so and so. The U.S. government has had... Whoa, sorry. I think I pulled out the microphone. Something got pulled out. If it sounds weird, I apologize. Anyway, the U.S. government has had enough of that over the last couple of years. They are... I think they now have ways to be able to actually look into people's accounts at will within Switzerland, which is something I can't even begin to fathom, that another country would have control over another country's banking system, whatever the case might be. What it comes down to is that for families and rich people and so and so and so. This is where we get the idea once again that people are going to start selling off their gold and silver. I know this upsets a lot of people. I saw people in the comment section the last couple of days telling me not to tell other people to sell their gold and silver. I'm not telling them to do this. I'm just telling you exactly where this is going to go. I understand that gold and silver has been a store of value for thousands of years. Cleopatra, kings and queens, everyone making gold crowns and, you know, coins and throwing it at their jesters. I got that part. But we live in a super digital world. We live in a world where you have a country who can look into the funds of other countries and tell them exactly what to do. Even for other safe havens where people were holding, I won't use the word hiding, where people were holding their money before, this is now no longer an option. So the option now is, and this is where also goes into the discussion before that we were talking about of clean versus dirty Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, the ones that have, you know, have no transaction history behind them, and people are buying up these Bitcoin simply because they don't want the other negative things to be associated with, and they want to have a fresh, clean slate. And this is why we get into the discussion of fungibility. Turning back to the topic at hand, it comes down to the fact that as families begin to get more and more rich, this is only going to continue. We're expected to have our first trillionaire within our lifetimes. That means within the next 20, 30, 40 years, we are expected on this planet to have somebody worth $1 trillion. And the last thing you want, if you are worth $100 billion, $500 billion or $1 trillion, is for one country to be able to say, no, freeze that person's account, freeze that so-and-so, so freeze that blah, 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 blah. This is the real reason why very rich people are getting heavily into cryptocurrencies, because no one will be able to tell you or them what to do with their own money, when they can move it, how they can move it, what they can do with it, especially when we end up getting to the point in the future where most of these blockchains, especially Bitcoin, has private transactions in place and people can't tell where this money is going. That's when crypto is going to completely lose its mind, because what it comes down to is nobody, all right, there was a fly on the desk. Nobody wants to be told what to do, what have you. When rich people, when you talk about why rich people are throwing tons and tons of money into cryptocurrencies, it pretty much comes down to this. There's no real safe place for you to be able to store or hold your cryptocurrencies. Or rather, your money, not even cryptocurrencies, like your own funds that are in any way that can be blocked. Like, this is the same exact thing like we had the news from before. Like, if you think it's difficult for a rich person to be able to get their gold or to get their assets when it's like frozen by an account, this is why we had the news a couple of days ago, weeks ago, months ago, where Germany was trying to take their gold from the US, where Venezuela was trying to get their gold. Like, this happens all the time. People try to get their gold from another country or their assets, and they're told no. Why are they told no? Because they're like, oh yeah, the US, they just texted us and say, yeah, you can't have your gold. And it's like, okay, that's fine. I didn't need my money anyway. That's going to be a thing of the past. And this is once again why we get into that discussion when people realize, and that's normal people, realize what's going on with the cryptocurrency prices, and Bitcoin passes by 50,000 and people start throwing more of their money into it, that eventually people will start to liquidate a lot of their physical and solid assets. That's not to say land and or real estate is going to be gold and silver, things that, or things, even money. This is where we get that idea of a multi-trillion-dollar Bitcoin market cap. Is that money and all this, you know, coins, what have you. It will be better suited within cryptocurrency or within Bitcoin, because you can move it at will. Imagine a world where transactions are private and you have $45 million and no one on this planet can tell you what you can or cannot do, what you can't buy, where you can't go, what you can't do. This is why they're buying it up in droves, and this is why I still think it's very interesting. And I will say this until Bitcoin hits $1 million. I am not even joking. So many people aren't paying attention. This is not financial advice, but my goodness, if you shouldn't listen. There are tons of rich people around the world. There are billionaires in this world. There are multimillionaires. I go to a lot of events. I go to a lot of, like, not money-making events, but I go to, like, money people events, and I talk to people, and I know that a lot of people are buying up a lot of cryptocurrency, a lot more than you can even begin to like. You can't put it into context exactly how much money is flowing back and forth behind the scenes of people just buying up 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 Bitcoin at one time. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in that same exact thing are very, very scarce, and they're only going to get a lot scarcer. And this is why when the market does start to go back up and people start once again, you know, coming back onto the cryptocurrency scene, and they try to buy some, and they try to, you know, so, but like whatever the case might be on these different exchanges, and they realize that there's not enough to go around because it's been bought up all this time, I'm just completely insane. This is why I always say I've outgrown waiting for Bitcoin dips and Bitcoin to go lower and an $800 Bitcoin and a $2,200 Bitcoin. I just buy. I buy whenever I get a little extra change. I throw it into multiple coins because I know exactly where this is going, and I want everyone else to also really open their eyes to understand that this is going to be how the world is going to be within the next 5 to 10 years. The world is going to be digital. A lot of assets that you may hold, that you may think are dear and near to your heart, they're going to be liquidated by millions of other people. And the moment Bitcoin hits $100,000, I want to make sure that you are all part of the system, that you at least have some, you at least have a fraction of it, because you think the rich are already richer? Just imagine what's going to happen when we have our first trillionaire. And because people who've been holding Bitcoin and XRP and Ether for the last couple of years and have been buying it up, when some of these people become billionaires, I don't know how many of you were here before. Remember all those articles in 2000, gosh, what was it? It had to be 2014, 15, and 16 of all the Bitcoin millionaires, all these people who were like, you know, how did you become a millionaire? Well, I bought some Bitcoin when it was $1.50, and they were like super, super rich. And remember in 2017, we were getting articles about the first crypto billionaires. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, Belarus-based tokenized security exchange known as Currency.com. I have no idea how they got that domain name. That is, you would have assumed 15 years ago somebody would have gotten Currency.com. That's crazy. Currency.com has announced it is launching to the public today after a spell in beta mode since January. The platform, which claims to be the world's first such exchange, allows investors to trade directly and invest in tokenized financial instruments, with payments being made directly in Bitcoin or in Ether. Currency.com has also launched an app on both iOS and Android, allowing users to access the exchange on the go. Other features added for the launch include 50% margin close out and selling at loss. Ivan Govan, CEO of Currency.com, said, and I do quote, "The arrival of tokenized securities will completely change how investors use or can use their cryptocurrencies. Linking crypto to the price of stocks and shares provides a tangible way for holders of Bitcoin and Ethereum to access traditional financial markets." This is what I am, before I continue, this is what I think I'm most excited about as well. When we get the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, they're already doing this as well, like slightly in their own certain way. They have like indexes on those websites where they show the prices of cryptocurrencies, where the cryptocurrencies are going or what they are in comparison to the euro or the dollar. When we start to see a world where digitized assets become a major thing, and they're also quoted in the prices of Bitcoin and Ether, my goodness, hold on to your seats. The exchange says it has 1,000 tokenized securities on offer to investors worldwide, with the exclusion of the United States and those on the list of on the blacklist of the Financial Action Task Force. Those are pretty much like North Korea and other countries, which is kind of insane that there's that list, and then the U.S. is also on that as well. Its UK Financial Conduct Authority and Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commissioner regulated sister firm Capital.com provides the underlying technology of the platform. The exchange explained in the announcement that its tokenized products track the underlying market price of common financial instruments such as global equities, indices, and commodities. So that's kind of cool. This is not a paid advertisement. I just think things that are denominated in crypto, and it also said it, wait, yeah, here we go. Right over here. Here's the actual website for it. As far as I can tell from what they have on their website, it appears that you can trade with crypto for these things, and it says profit in crypto, so I assume that the payouts are also in cryptocurrencies. This is happening more and more, and what I think people lose sight of very quickly is that you may not know Currency.com, you may not know Capital.com, you may not know any of the other names that we've been hearing, but this is at least the, I want to say, 22nd one that we've heard about over the course of the last 8 or 9 months. These websites that are integrating cryptocurrencies onto their platforms for you, not saying that you have to use it, but for one, to be able to buy, sell, and trade stocks, commodities, whatever the case might be, directly in cryptocurrencies, and you're also being paid out in cryptocurrencies. That's huge. I don't understand how people don't see the road ahead of them. Maybe it's just me. I know it's not just me. I know there are definitely people out there. I can see everyone like getting like frustrated. Like I listen as well. No, I know that a lot of people do, but it's more like everything is being integrated with cryptocurrencies. Everything around the world in some sort of way, whether it be a hotel, a shop, a shoe store, a place to buy and sell. There are so many websites, and this is what I think is interesting as well. There are so many websites out there right now where you can buy and sell like gold and silver and stuff like that, and diamonds. And you can pay in Bitcoin, which I think is pretty funny that a lot of people don't get the correlation between that, is that they're selling you a piece of metal to get your valuable cryptocurrency. You kind of see where this is all going. This is at least how I see it. Anyway, the point is, this is a thing. This is happening all over the place. And I think the true catalyst for a lot of people will be when we get the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. But around the world, it's already happening, and it's kind of exciting. That's the only word I can think of. To kind of finish things off, this is probably the craziest story of the day. Social media giant Facebook is said to be, it's crazy. Facebook is said to be in talks with firms including Visa and MasterCard to support and fund its planned fiat-backed cryptocurrency. A Thursday report from the Wall Street Journal, citing people familiar with the matter, said that Facebook has been working for over a year now to launch a stablecoin-based payments platform, not just a cryptocurrency. They want to launch an entire platform. The effort, internally called Project Libra, is aimed at development of a cryptocurrency enabling the firm's billions of users to send money to each other as well as make online purchases. Along with Visa and MasterCard, Facebook has also reportedly talked with financial services firm First Data Corporation in order to release or to raise around $1 billion in total as collateral for the stablecoin to buffer it against volatility. The social media giant is also in discussion with e-commerce companies, also to raise funds and to gain support and acceptance for this planned stablecoin. According to the report, Facebook may also pay users in the digital currency for viewing ads, as well as allowing advertisers to accept the token for merchandise and subsequently pay for more ads with it. There's more too. Notably, Facebook is said to be aiming to eliminate, here's where it gets crazy. Here's where it gets really fascinating, because I have my own idea about this. Facebook is said to be aiming to eliminate the swipe and card processing fees when you go and buy something. Generally, they're around 2 to 3% paid by merchants on every transaction to bank and payment processors and networks. They said if it succeeds, the project threatens the card network's dominance over global payments. This was said by the Wall Street Journal, the world. Anyway, last December, reports suggested that social media giant may first focus on the Indian market to let users transfer money via the fiat-pegged cryptocurrency on WhatsApp, the messaging app Facebook acquired in 2014. What I find the most fascinating, I don't know if you caught it, I definitely caught it immediately right off the bat. Not only the idea was that Facebook was launching their own stablecoin. Wow, that's great, that's cool, everyone has a stablecoin. Now we get information that they're actually working with Visa and MasterCard to be able to raise funds for their platform, because it's not just going to be people sending money back and forth. Oh, here's some cryptocurrency, here's some so and so and so. They're trying to raise this is just $1 billion from this one thing. I'm pretty sure they're raising billions of dollars behind the scenes. The thing that they're trying to get rid of, and here's where it gets really scary, is they're trying to eliminate the processing fees by merchants for, like, when this is a reason. There are certain countries around the world, I don't know if you've been to them, people sometimes don't accept cards. I know it sounds weird, 2019, there are definitely places around the world that still do not accept cards, and it's mainly because of the fees that they have to pay from Visa and MasterCard. This tells me Visa and MasterCard are probably not that stupid to give money to the people from Facebook to be able to create a platform that is going to be eliminating the fee that they charge to be able to make their money, which tells me that these people understand that cryptocurrencies are going to be a very big thing. Cryptocurrencies have very low fees. Sometimes they have no fees at all. And therefore, they're trying to do something with Facebook, who has millions of users, in order to get them to use their new thing, which leads me to believe, and I'm leading up to all of this, is that with all of this money behind it, I think we're going to not only see Facebook coin, Libra coin, whatever you kind of want to call it, be one of the largest stable coins that we actually have in the cryptocurrency space. I think what they're trying to do is also take over all the other pay systems. That is to say, PayPal, Amazon Pay, Apple Pay, Money Pay, so-and-so Pay, Tap and Pay, all those other things, if they can get enough wind behind them. I don't know exactly how big this is going to become, But I think a lot of people, especially in the cryptocurrency space, never, ever, 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 never underestimate your enemy. A lot of people saying, oh, Facebook is old, Facebook so and so and so. There are a lot of people who still use Facebook. If they can get this train moving, if they can get the capital behind it, I think the days of Tether will be well behind us, because this is going to be kind of the new thing. I don't know how deep it's going to go, how decentralized it's going to be, how many price platforms are going to list it on their actual thing. But understand, this is going to be absolutely huge. This isn't going to be something very small. We had news at the beginning of this year that they planned on launching sometime, I think it said the beginning of Q2, or it was April or May. April's gone. It's now May. I have a very strange inkling within the next 2 weeks, we're probably going to get information that Facebook is going to start like soft launching this, maybe in India, maybe in some other country. Like I said, don't underestimate it. You don't have to use it, but understand exactly what it is and what it's going to become and how big it's going to be. There's a lot of money flowing behind this. People understand that the future of payments is going to be digital, and everybody kind of wants a piece of it. And this is why we see so many companies kind of getting into it and making their own stable coins, especially because we had news 3-4 weeks ago that the people from Facebook were actually talking with major cryptocurrency exchanges to actually get their Facebook coin listed onto their platforms as well. And I can only assume if these websites have a listing fee and they're like, yeah, you need to pay us, $500,000, they're like, okay, that's totally fine. They're willing to pay it to get themselves onto the top cryptocurrency exchanges. Very crazy times ahead. I find it exciting. I know some people may be terrified at the prospect of all of this happening. They are building a system. They are not just building a stable coin. They're trying to build something to completely usurp the cryptocurrency space. And this is why, not even just in my opinion, just do it. We need unity in the cryptocurrency space. I don't understand why the crypto space doesn't realize that we aren't all powerful, that we will have people who are going to try and attack us, that while you may not like XRP, while you may not care for Tron, we still need to all come together and really build a very strong community, because the way that the cryptocurrency community is right now, it falls apart very easily. People sway from one side to the other at a moment's notice. We are all in the cryptocurrency space. It is not just you. It is not just your friends. And it's not a us versus them. The only us versus them is people who are into Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP, Ethereum, and people who are building stable coins, systems to completely don't be confused. These things aren't being built as something to work alongside cryptocurrencies. They're being built to destroy them. Like, the people in charge don't want cryptocurrencies in the first place. They want something that they can control, and you can control a lot of things if it goes directly through Facebook and have all this other funding from all these other people. The people in charge, who already have tons of money, are making sure that they continue to have more money and that they control the new payment system, because it's very easy to say, well, that's fine. Don't use that other system that we had for you before, that we had since the 70s. It's garbage. Don't use it. But you know what you can do? You can open up a Facebook. You can use this cryptocurrency buzzword right here. It's very cool. Remember the fees that we paid you before? We felt so bad about that. The 2 and 3%, they're gone. Now use Facebook coin with you and all your friends, and we'll definitely be able to track all of your transactions. Doesn't that sound amazing? People are going to fall in love with this coin, and I need you to all understand that. I don't know how we're going to get the cryptocurrency space to be unified. It is very difficult in this world to get people to kind of join hands to do anything, but we are going to have to band together very, very soon, because I have a feeling if this picks up, you'd better believe we're going to see at least 2 or 3 other stable coins try to launch their own exact thing. I have a very strange feeling that PayPal is probably in talks with somebody to either integrate into a coin or to make their own coin. Everyone is making their coins this season. So please be aware that this is the world that we are living in. I mean, just be nice to people. The stuff I see on Twitter is completely out of this world. We can joke with each other sometimes. I told Justin's son, no, we don't want his coin listed on some other platform. That's fine. We can have fun. But we need to come together, because crypto can succeed. I believe it is going to succeed. But if we continue tearing each other down, we're all going to be using Facebook coin in about 10 years instead. That's not a joke. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are. wherever on this crazy planet you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. I do appreciate all of your support. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gunbot University, SC Verzely Fine Art, Brady Niels, L. Doug, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, Shaolin Fried Rice. Hold on. There we go. Gilbo Snake. Sorry. You don't even want to know. Crypto Joe, Carl Birchenoff, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Rai Rai, Yasha Harari, Amy Starsheen, Jeffrey Ramsey, Crypnotic, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III, RF Dusty, Cody, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Minting Coins, Arthur Yaku, Nick Mangialavori, and Anthony Charles. Thank you all an incredible amount for your support. My throat was already hurting before. It hasn't really recovered because I keep going out doing stuff. Now it's hurting once again. I'm sure the video didn't help. Hope you all enjoyed. And I'll talk to you all soon. See you.